Hi there. Welcome to Secret Places in the Open Air. I'm your host, Ivan Taprod. A stranger comes to town. Outsiders are special. They are twetuous twixters, or wascoey wabbits, or no-good varmints like Bugs Bunny. They are holy figures like Jesus. Magicians like Dr. Seuss's famous Cat in the Hat. They are public relations constructs, such as the Republican Party's Ronald Reagan, who legend would have it, foresaw that by building up the U.S. military arsenal, he could bring about the collapse of the Soviet Union. When the stranger comes to town, the sword is pulled from the stone, and the little boy becomes a king. The dead are resurrected from their grave. The hunter shoots the duck, even though it is rabbit hunting season. And the U.S. President tells the Soviet General Secretary, "Mr. Gorbachev, tear down this wall." The story of the stranger coming to town is such an attractive narrative that when George W. Bush ran for president, he claimed that he was an outsider to Washington, even though his father had been president, and even though his mentor, Dick Cheney, was a former U.S. Defense Secretary, and had also been a congressman, and the CEO of an oil drilling services company and U.S. Department of Defense contractor called Halliburton. George W. Bush promised to clean up government by doing something called privatization, whereby the U.S. government pays out money to companies such as the one that Dick Cheney used to be the CEO of. When the stranger comes to Jerusalem, he brings with him enthusiasm, and he also brings uncertainty, the possibility of conflict, the hope of renewal and redemption, and with the changing of the order, the inevitability of chaos. The stranger feeds the hungry. The stranger washes those who are unclean. Though he says, "Blessed are the peacemakers," yet there are wars and rumors of wars. Other contenders attempt to steal the spotlight. The authorities see the stranger as a threat. False charges are leveled. Crucifixion is the result. Or the stranger might be assimilated into the very power structure that he promised to change. Someday that stranger might even have a postage stamp printed celebrating his lifestyle, his longevity as a celebrity, his friends and his associates, and his many accomplishments. When Ronald Reagan was president, a popular president in his second term, he held a summit with the Soviet General Secretary Mikhail Gorbachev in a place called Reykjavik, Iceland. The two leaders, both of whom had risen to power suddenly, like strangers from out of town, came close to an agreement to ban all nuclear weapons. Never since then has there been serious talk of such a ban. Remembering second grade.
Remember second grade? We're the same age. Do you remember what it was like?
No, not really. It's all a kind of time warp blur.
JFK was president. You remember him, of course.
Let's see. Second grade. I would have been 7, which makes that back in 1962. He was shot in what, 63? So you're right. JFK was the president then.
The United States was the world leader of everything in those days. The strongest military power, the leading manufacturer of everything, the world's biggest consumer.
That's true, but we sure were afraid of communists. New houses were built with bomb shelters, remember that? I even vaguely remember participating in an air raid drill. And the school basement was a fallout shelter.
Russia had seized control of Eastern Europe. The Chinese were calling us a paper tiger. Nikita Khrushchev was telling the United Nations that he would bury us. The Korean War had ended in a stalemate. Of course we were afraid of communists.
I wasn't afraid of them. I was too busy fighting bad guys, pretending that I was Davy Crockett or John Wayne.
And I was pretending I was a homemaker, smoking my candy cigarettes and pretending to talk on a rotary dial phone.
Those were crazy days, all right. Grade school teachers used to smoke in classrooms, and male teachers used to wear ties. Remember that?
Not in our school. Teachers in our school had to smoke in the teacher's lounge. When the teacher opened the door to that room, clouds of smoke would pour out.
Sounds about right. Everybody smoked cigarettes in those days.
They even showed cigarette commercials on TV in those days. Remember those?
Oh, sure. That tastes bad like the last one I had. No filter, no flavor, tastes just like toilet paper.
I thought you didn't remember second grade.
I don't.
Sure you do. That was the second grader's version of the old cigarette commercial jingle. You can tell that it was the second grader version because of its reference to toilet paper. Second graders love scatological humor, especially the boys.
You know, I think you're right. You remember those poles with the hooks on them that the teachers used to use to open the windows?
Yeah, I do. I hated those poles. You remember the chicken fat song that they used to play in gym class?
Absolutely. How could I forget that?
Touchdown every morning, 10 times, not just now and then. Give that chicken fat back to the chicken and don't be chicken again. No, don't be chicken again.
No second grader humor in that one.
Nope, not in that one. But you're right. Second graders love scatological humor. If I recall correctly, second grade was when we discovered that lighting farts produces fire.
A big moment in a boy's life, I'm sure.
An important part of growing up. But seriously, why do you think that is?
What? That boys light their farts while little girls like sugar and spice and everything nice?
No, the scatological thing. What's up with that?
I don't know. Second grade isn't that far away from toilet training, though, you know.
I remember dangling earthworms in front of girls, trying to gross them out. There was this one girl, Roxanne, who actually ate one of the worms right in front of us. I gagged and just about threw up. But it didn't seem to bother her a bit.
Good for Roxanne. She showed you.
Not really. We teased her mercilessly. Later, she even denied it.
I can imagine. Second graders can be pretty mean. They may look cute, but they can be pretty mean.
All in all, though, I think that they are cuter than they are mean. My grandson told me a joke the other day. He asked me to pull up my thumb, then put my finger into the hole and swish it around. Then he thanked me for cleaning his toilet.
Oh, that old joke. I bet that's been around since the day that the modern toilet was invented.
And it's always been told by second graders. Every year, a new group of second graders hears the joke for the first time, and they think it's the funniest joke they've ever heard.
It's kind of nice that some things don't change.
The following is a political announcement. The views expressed are not necessarily those of secret places in the open air and Taprod or Time Warner King.
I'm Biff. I am Biff. Biff. Yodor. Biff. Hi, I'm Biff. Do you want a sexy governor? Or do you want Yodor? You decide this November.
Yodor firmly believe in separation of church from state.
Security. Safety. Terrorist attacks. Mass violent terrorist attacks. Terrorist attacks. Open laser carry. Founding principles. Twitter feed. International threat. Pipelines!
Yodor on big screen!
I'm Biff Raygun. I was born on a laser farm.
Yodor start with nothing. Yodor become governor. Rag to rich.
I'm gonna live down there.
No. Yodor lived down there.
Yes, I'm going to vote for Yodor. His policies are going to destroy society.
Biff makes me feel safe.
Of course I'm gonna vote for Yodor. I mean, he'd be the worst governor ever. Plus, seems like he'd be pretty cool to hang out with. Play Sega.
Someday, this all be Yodor.
I'm an everyday Nebraskan. I ride the bus.
You all got nice teeth.
Yeah, I'm an honorary member. Hi, I'm Biff Raygun. I'm gonna be your next governor. I eat poop. I eat poop! I eat poop! I eat poop!
The road to hell. Do not be afraid of high fructose corn syrup. We once inhabited a world with saber-toothed tigers and with primitive Stone Age knives and spears, and the cooperation of our tribe fought hand to paw against giant prehistoric grizzly bears. The embarrassment that you felt when your father kissed you in front of the entire second grade class is nothing compared to being eaten alive by ravenous wolves. Your smoking is bad for you. It is even worse than eating high fructose corn syrup. But it is not so bad as being gored by an elephant or having your liver and intestines eaten while you are still alive by giant carnivorous birds. The prison system is inhumane, and too many people are sent to it unjustly or to be punished for victimless crimes. But the inhumanity of our penal institutions is nothing compared to the Nazi death camps, in which prisoners who did no crimes were forced to labor long hours in the frozen cold of winter with not enough to eat, wearing rags, and with holes in their shoes. Christians used to be martyrs who showed courage and transcendent serenity in the face of ravenous lions in front of bloodthirsty spectators in the Roman Colosseum. The Romans watched the Christians, somewhat bored and only mildly attentive, as the Christians were eaten alive. Now, once a week, for an hour or two, Christians clothe themselves in suits and dresses, sing in accompaniment with organs, and send their children to Sunday school. The road to hell is paved, well lit, lined with trees, and divided into neatly striped lanes. Our gladiators learn to fight by playing video games. They ride into battle in million-dollar vehicles with headphones over their ears. They launch weapons that cut graceful arcs through the air and can adjust their trajectories to target precise, pre-programmed global coordinates. The weapons, at least some of them, burn with the same intensity and searing heat that powers the sun. Nearly all of the weapons, not just the nuclear ones, burn skin off of living flesh and are more painful and more terrible than being eaten alive by ravenous beasts. Then he grabbed his guitar and started to jam. Hey, baby, baby, you've got the stuff that's going on. He got himself a band with a bass and a rhythm guitar, a sax, drums, and himself on lead. He got himself 3 skinny black women dressed like flappers to dance and sing. They called themselves Rock and Roll Baby. The promo posters showed him in white velveteen diapers with his blonde hair shaved bald. He wore a chain-link, all-seeing eye necklace and was driven in a baby carriage onto center stage. He emerged from that baby carriage to howls and to screams, to floor stomping and to clapping in the air. He leaped out in front of his fans with a new sound, clear and whiny, and performed a maximum volume, high-speed, cranium-crunching, guitar-screaming solo of life-embracing intensity. And now, here's a public service announcement from your cat who wants to be your friend. Some cats like to be held. Some cats like to be kissed. Some cats do the kissing, and some cats like to be licked. Some cats are clever. Some cats are crazy. Just always remember, your cat is your friend. Cats can make you sneeze. They are known to shred your upholstery. If you die with a cat in your house, it might eat you. But don't take any offense. Your cat is just being a cat. Trusting the TV.
Don't believe what you hear on TV.
You're on TV. Are you saying that I shouldn't believe you?
No, you can trust me. Since I'm warning you not to trust other people, you know you can trust me.
What other people?
Politicians.
You're a politician.
Yes, but I'm an honest politician. You can tell I'm honest because I'm warning you not to trust other politicians.
You're a politician who is on TV, and you're warning me not to trust politicians who are on TV. Why should I trust you?
You can trust me because I'm warning you that big government, terrorists, and enemies of America who hate freedom want to destroy your way of life.
Now I really don't trust you. You're one of those guys who wants to expand the defense budget, invade other countries, and intensify domestic spy operations. In my experience, that's what politicians who try to scare us about enemies of freedom always do.
Would you trust me if I were to warn you about corporate greed?
I might. And now, here's a public service announcement from the bean counters of the future, who have a daring proposal to monetize the air that we breathe. Economics is the answer to anything and everything, and bean counters, otherwise known as accountants, need to be made the evaluators of social worth. Take, for example, air. In our current state of sociological evolution, where human beings are still children who are overwhelmed by the all-encompassing power of nature, air is totally taken for granted. And yet, without it, we would die. How can this be? Do we really want to live in a society where something of such intrinsic value is ascribed no economic value whatsoever? I think not. We need to empower the bean counters. Air needs to be allocated in a manner similar to the way that the government sells drilling rights or mining rights on public lands, or to the way that the FCC licenses electromagnetic spectrum bandwidth to radio stations, cell phone providers, and TV broadcasters. Ultimately, we should proceed toward the laudable goal of making the air that we breathe private property, as opposed to publicly held property, thus enabling the free market to determine its worth. Only then will humans live in a rational world based on true human values, where money is the measure of all things. Who says that money can't buy happiness? Not the bean counters of the future. You can rest assured that they will be there for you, working on your behalf to ensure that in the future, money will be the only way to buy happiness. Life is hell in America. Life is hell in America. We told the world to give us their tired, poor, huddled masses. And do you know what happened? They gave them to us from all parts of the world.
No, those other countries didn't give them to us. The immigrants came here on their own accord, looking for a better life.
Not the black people. They didn't come of their own accord.
And not the Indians. We lived here already. We got pushed around.
Now the great-great-grandchildren of European peasants are driving pickup trucks, and the great-great-grandchildren of African slaves are decked out in bling.
Life is hell in America.
Santa Claus has left the building, or worse, sold his soul to corporate sponsorship.
It's all falling apart. The liberals are stirring up class warfare. Healthy living and personal responsibility have been replaced by Obamacare. There's only so many apples on the tree, and everybody wants to eat apple pie.
Who is that blindfolded lady? Who is that lady with the torch? The government gets its share. The insurance companies get theirs. Banks don't pay interest, just charge high fees. The stockbrokers are billionaires, but when banks get in trouble, it's the little guys who bail them out.
It's all Saddam Hussein's fault. If he would have really had weapons of mass destruction, he would have made U.S. and British intelligence look competent. Now we can't even trust the CIA.
Who are these people? What are they doing in our country? Why don't they just leave?
I wish we could just get along and all be one happy family. We're all in this together, you know.
The working man wants to marry a working wife, and everybody sits in line while the groom is left waiting. The work never stops. Nobody gets a break.
Life is hell in America. If you didn't support America's invasion of Iraq, you hate America. You can't be a true patriotic American if you don't support what America does.
The tired, poor, huddled masses are taking over the country. Pretty soon we're all going to have plumber's cracks. Bad manners are everywhere. People can't even use a knife and fork.
Life is hell in America.
It was the hippies who made this mess. If it wasn't for them, we'd have won the war in Vietnam.
Jesus wants us to live in gated communities and to surround ourselves with people who are like ourselves. He wants us to feel guilty for being bad and to congratulate ourselves every day that we are the elect, chosen by God.
Gay people are getting married. Who are they pretending to be? Men and women?
I believe in the resurrection, and I believe in ghosts. Those slave traders who stole the children of Africa are alive. If socioeconomic conditions were different today, if profit could still legally be made, they would sell the children of Africa into slavery still.
All I want is a 2-car garage.
It's George Bush's $700 billion financial bailout that is to blame.
Life is hell in America.
If we didn't have our guns to protect us, we'd have nothing to protect.
Medical marijuana is making drug dealers dress up like doctors and turning skinheads into farmers. It's a suicide path, chemical-induced delirium.
I used to think that booties were cute little baby shoes. But now we got words like bootylicious and phrases like shake your booty that have nothing whatsoever to do with baby clothes. Pretty soon it's going to be like the Toronto no-pants subway ride. Indecency will be the rule of the day.
Nobody can agree on anything. Everybody is passionate. Emotions are vented, nothing gets done. The balance will not hold. There is no one belief that can bind us all together. Men still love women, and women still love men. But a nation also needs to be bound together by love.
Everybody is looking for the same thing, looking for the opportunity to be recognized for who they are.
Give me your tired, your poor, your huddled masses yearning to breathe free.
Blessed are the poor in spirit, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven.
There can be no more publicly sponsored prayers in public schools.
I have a dream.
Take 2 aspirins and call me in the morning.
Life is hell.
Thank you for watching Secret Places in the Open Air. At the beginning of each month, we begin broadcasting a new show. Our time slot is 10:30 Wednesday and 10:30 Saturday. So be watching for a new show at the beginning of next month. We also have a YouTube channel. Just direct your browser to ivantaprod.com. Here are some testimonials from our panel of experts.
I like the Ivan Taprod YouTube channel because it makes me laugh, and I'm afraid of what I might miss if I whack out and forget to watch Ivan on TV.
Let me see. I'm not really sure. I guess the reason I like the Ivan Taprod YouTube channel is because it takes me to places where I might not otherwise go.
I like the hot chicks and the sexy models.
See you next time.
Nikita Khrushchev was telling the United Nations that he would bury us.
Jesus wants us to live in gated communities and to round. Jesus wants us to live in gated communities and. Jesus wants us to live in gated communities and to every time.
Sure you do. That was the second grader's version of the old cigarette commercial jingle. Let me start over.
Jesus wants us to live in gated communities and to... every time, to surround. Everybody is looking...